5 Forbidden Places Humans Were Never Meant to Enter, Part 2. Part 1 The doorways humanity was never supposed to open. There are places on this earth that feel wrong the moment you learn about them. Not because they are violent. Not because they are dramatic. But because something deep inside the human mind quietly understands that we do not belong there. These are not tourist destinations. They are not mysteries meant to be solved. They are warnings written into geography itself. In part 1 of this series, we explored places that remain forbidden because of isolation, radiation, secrecy, and nature's absolute rule. Now, in part 2, we move deeper toward places where human curiosity crossed invisible lines, and reality seemed to push back. These are locations where explorers vanished, where governments intervened, where maps became vague, where the land itself appeared to resist human presence. As you listen, allow your breathing to slow. Let the images form gently, without strain. This is not a story meant to alarm you. It is meant to unsettle quietly the kind of unease that drifts into sleep. We begin with a place that exists far from civilization. A place where even the earth seems unfinished. Forbidden place number 1 The Door to Hell, Turkmenistan. In the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, there is a crater that has been burning continuously for more than 50 years. Locals call it the Door to Hell. It was never meant to exist. In 1971, Soviet scientists were drilling for natural gas when the ground beneath their equipment collapsed. What opened was a massive cavern filled with methane gas. Fearing the release of toxic fumes, the scientists made a decision that seemed logical at the time. They set the gas on fire, believing it would burn out within a few days. It never did. The crater, nearly 70 meters wide and 20 meters deep, has been burning ever since. Day and night. Through decades of political change. Through generations of people. From a distance, the flames shimmer like liquid light. At night, the glow can be seen from miles away, painting the desert sky in shades of orange and red. Approaching the crater feels unnatural. The heat grows stronger with every step. The sound is not a roar, but a constant low breath as if the earth itself is exhaling. Geologists who have studied the site report an overwhelming sensory experience. The smell of gas. The distortion of air. The unsettling feeling that the ground could give way at any moment. Despite safety measures, several researchers have suffered injuries attempting to study the crater closely. Some reported dizziness. Others described disorientation and panic, even when properly equipped. There is no fence strong enough to make this place safe. No way to extinguish it without risking further collapse. It is forbidden not by law, but by consequence. The door to hell reminds us that some mistakes cannot be undone. Some doors, once opened, refuse to close. And the earth remembers. Forbidden place number 2 North Brother Island, New York. Hidden in plain sight between the Bronx and Rikers Island lies a small, overgrown landmass few people have ever stepped foot on. North Brother Island. Once, it was a quarantine zone. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, New York City used the island to isolate those suffering from contagious diseases, tuberculosis, smallpox, typhoid. It was here that Mary Mallon, better known as Typhoid Mary, spent decades of her life in forced isolation. Today, the buildings still stand. Hospitals with broken windows. Dormitories swallowed by vines. Hallways filled with silence. The island has been abandoned for decades, yet it feels anything but empty. Visitors who have illegally accessed North Brother Island describe an overwhelming sense of presence. Footsteps echo without source. Doors shift in the wind, though no breeze is felt. Nature has reclaimed the land aggressively. Trees grow through floors. Birds nest in hospital wards. The island is now a protected wildlife sanctuary. Officially, entry is forbidden. Not because it is dangerous but because it is disturbing. Historians argue that North Brother Island represents an uncomfortable chapter in human history. A time when fear of disease outweighed compassion. When people were removed from society and forgotten. The island is left untouched, as though disturbing it would awaken something best left buried. Some places are forbidden not to protect us, but to preserve memory. Forbidden place number 3, the tomb of Qin Shi Huang. Deep beneath the earth near Xi'an, China, lies a structure that no human has ever entered. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor. Above ground, the terracotta army stands silent, thousands of life-sized soldiers, horses, and chariots guarding the emperor in death. But below the surface lies something far more unsettling. Ancient texts describe rivers of mercury flowing through the tomb, representing the rivers of China. Mechanical traps designed to kill intruders. Ceilings decorated with stars and constellations. Modern science confirms something extraordinary. The soil around the tomb contains dangerously high levels of mercury. So high, in fact, that archaeologists believe opening the tomb could release lethal contamination. Despite having the technology to enter, scientists refuse. Why? Because history has taught them that some discoveries destroy what they seek to understand. Opening the tomb could collapse its structure. Expose fragile artifacts to air. Release toxins sealed for over 2,000 years. The tomb remains untouched not due to superstition, but restraint. This is a rare case where humanity chose not to open a door. And in that choice, there is wisdom. Forbidden place number 4, Bikini Atoll. In the Pacific Ocean lies a chain of islands once described as paradise. Bikini Atoll. Between 1946 and 1958, the United States conducted 23 nuclear tests here. Entire islands were vaporized. The ocean floor was reshaped. Radiation seeped into coral, fish, and soil. The native population was relocated, told they would return soon. They never truly did. Today, Bikini Atoll remains largely uninhabitable. Radiation levels fluctuate unpredictably. Some areas appear safe, others deadly. Divers who visit the sunken ships left behind describe haunting scenes. Warships resting silently on the ocean floor. Coral growing through gun turrets. Marine life thriving amid invisible danger. Bikini Atoll is forbidden not because it looks threatening, but because it hides its danger perfectly. It is beautiful, peaceful, and still poisoned. Forbidden place number 5, the Paris Catacombs, restricted zones. Beneath Paris lies a vast underground labyrinth of tunnels and chambers. The catacombs. While a small section is open to tourists, over 90% of the network is illegal to enter. These restricted zones stretch for hundreds of kilometers beneath the city. People who have entered illegally, known as cataphiles, tell unsettling stories. Disorientation, time distortion, the sensation of being followed. Some never return. In 2017, a video was found of a man wandering the tunnels, breathing heavily, flashlight shaking before the footage abruptly ended. His body was never found. The tunnels shift. Maps fail. Sound behaves strangely underground. The catacombs are forbidden because once you lose your way, the city above may never find you again. As part 2 continues, we will go deeper still. Into places erased from maps. Into zones where entire populations vanished. Into locations where the boundary between myth and reality dissolves. For now, let your mind rest here. In the quiet tension of places never meant for us. Part 2, lands that reject human presence. There is a moment in every exploration story where curiosity turns into hesitation. It is the moment when the environment itself begins to feel unwelcoming. When the air grows heavy. When silence becomes too complete. Some places do not need guards or fences. They enforce their boundaries naturally. Through geography. Through isolation. Through subtle signals that something is wrong. In this part of our journey, we move away from human-made barriers and toward locations that appear to actively reject human presence. These are places where explorers felt watched. Where entire expeditions failed. Where survival itself seemed conditional. Let us begin with a place where the earth never stopped burning. Forbidden place number 6, Mount Sinabung's permanent exclusion zone. On the Indonesian island of Sumatra stands Mount Sinabung. For centuries, it was believed to be dormant. Villages grew along its slopes. Farmers worked the fertile soil. Children grew up believing the mountain was harmless. Then, in 2010, Sinabung erupted. And it never truly stopped. Ash clouds swallowed the sky. Lava flows carved paths through farmland. Entire communities were forced to evacuate. What makes Sinabung forbidden is not the eruption itself, but its unpredictability. The mountain does not follow patterns. It does not warn consistently. It erupts without rhythm. Authorities established a permanent exclusion zone around Sinabung. Villages within it were abandoned completely. Homes still stand. Furniture remains inside. Photographs hang on walls. But no one is allowed to return. Those who tried to sneak back, often to retrieve belongings, paid with their lives. Pyroclastic flows move faster than thought. There is no escape once they begin. Sinabung is forbidden because the land itself has reclaimed authority. It decides who may stand upon it. And it has made its answer clear. Forbidden Place Number 7, the Zone of Silence, Mexico. In the Mapimay Desert of northern Mexico lies an area locals call La Zona del Silencio. The Zone of Silence. Radio signals fail here. Compasses behave erratically. Weather changes without warning. Pilots have reported navigation failures when flying overhead. Scientists studying the area describe an overwhelming sense of disorientation. Meteorites fall here at unusually high rates. Plants grow in strange formations. Animals behave unpredictably. Attempts to map the zone precisely have failed. Boundaries shift. Coordinates refuse to remain consistent. Some visitors report hearing faint hums in the distance. Others experience time distortion, feeling they were present for minutes when hours had passed. The Mexican government monitors the area quietly. Access is discouraged. Research is limited. The Zone of Silence is forbidden not through enforcement, but through instability. It is a reminder that the Earth itself contains anomalies we do not fully understand. Forbidden Place Number 8, Gangkar Puensum, Bhutan. Rising over 7,500 meters, Gangkar Puensum is the highest unclimbed mountain in the world. Not because it is impossible to climb, but because it is forbidden. In Bhutan, mountains are considered sacred. They are believed to be the dwelling places of deities and spirits. In 1994, Bhutan officially banned all mountain climbing above 6,000 meters. Later, all climbing was banned entirely. Gangkar Puensum remains untouched. No ropes. No camps. No summit markers. Satellite images show its untouched ridges, sharp and pristine. Climbers from around the world have requested permission. All have been denied. This is one of the rare cases where spiritual belief overrides ambition. The mountain stands as it always has. Unclaimed. Unconquered. Forbidden not by danger, but by respect. Forbidden Place Number 9, Surtsey Island, Iceland. In 1963, a volcanic eruption beneath the Atlantic Ocean created a new island, Surtsey. Scientists immediately recognized its importance. It was a chance to observe how life begins, how ecosystems form from nothing. Strict rules were enforced. No one could visit without permission. No contamination allowed. No human interference. Today, only a handful of scientists are allowed to step foot on Surtsey. They must clean their boots thoroughly, carry nothing organic, leave nothing behind. Even a single seed introduced by accident could alter decades of observation. Surtsey is forbidden because it is fragile. Because it represents a moment in time that cannot be recreated. It is a living experiment. And humanity is not allowed to interfere. Forbidden Place Number 10, Poveglia Island, Italy. In the Venetian lagoon lies Poveglia. Once a quarantine island during plague outbreaks. Later, a mental asylum. Thousands are believed to have died there. Officially, the island is closed due to structural instability. Unofficially, locals refuse to go near it. Boats avoid its shores. Fishermen steer clear. Visitors who managed to reach the island describe overwhelming dread. Ringing in the ears. Sudden nausea. The sensation of being watched. Buildings crumble. Bell towers lean. Nature has overtaken everything. Poveglia is forbidden not because it is dangerous, but because it carries memory. Some places absorb suffering, and once filled, they never empty again. Why these places are forbidden? What connects these locations is not fear, but limits. Each place reminds us that humans are not entitled to every corner of the planet. Some places reject us through fire, some through instability, some through belief, some through memory. Forbidden places are not always hostile. They simply exist beyond our role. And as you listen, as your mind slows, you may notice something. The tension is gentle, not sharp, not loud. It is the tension of boundaries, the kind that encourages rest rather than action. In the next part, we will move deeper still, into places erased from maps, into locations where entire populations vanished without explanation. For now, remain here, at the edge, breathing slowly, listening to the quiet certainty that some doors remain closed for a reason. Part 3: Places that erased those who arrived. There are places on Earth where people did not simply leave. They vanished. Not in a dramatic way. Not with screams or chaos. But quietly, as if the land itself absorbed them. In these places, homes remain. Tools lie where they were last used. Paths lead nowhere. What makes these locations forbidden is not danger in the usual sense. It is the absence of answers. When humans disappear without explanation, curiosity becomes hesitation. And hesitation becomes fear. Let us move slowly now. These are the most unsettling places yet. Not because they are violent, but because they are empty. Forbidden Place Number 11: the Angikuni Lake Village, Canada. In the remote Arctic region of Nunavut lies Angikuni Lake. In 1930, fur trapper Joe LaBelle arrived at a small Inuit settlement near the lake. He expected warmth, food, conversation. Instead, he found silence. The village was completely abandoned. Fires were extinguished but still warm. Food remained untouched in cooking pots. Tools lay where they had been dropped. Most unsettling of all, the graves had been opened. The bodies were gone. No footprints led away from the village. No signs of struggle. No explanation. Authorities investigated. Nothing was found. Over time, officials attempted to downplay the event. Some suggested exaggeration. Others claimed misreporting. Yet local Inuit oral histories speak of something else. Of strange lights in the sky. Of an unnatural cold that descended suddenly. Of a fear so overwhelming that people fled without taking anything. Angikuni Lake remains a place people avoid. The land is quiet there. Too quiet. Forbidden not by law, but by memory. Forbidden Place Number 12, the Roanoke Colony Site, United States. On Roanoke Island, North Carolina, lies the site of America's oldest unsolved mystery. In 1587, over 100 English settlers arrived. They built homes, planted crops, prepared for permanence. When supply ships returned 3 years later, the settlement was gone. No bodies. No signs of battle. No ruins. Only one word carved into wood. Croton. To this day, no one knows what happened. Did the settlers integrate with local tribes? Were they attacked? Did they starve and scatter? The land offers no answers. Excavations have revealed fragments, tools, pottery, bones, but nothing conclusive. Roanoke is forbidden not because entry is restricted, but because it refuses resolution. It is a reminder that disappearance does not require catastrophe. Sometimes, people simply fade. Forbidden Place Number 13, Hashima Island, Japan. Also known as Battleship Island, Hashima once symbolized industrial success. At its peak, it was the most densely populated place on Earth. Concrete buildings rose from the sea. Families lived stacked upon one another. Coal mining powered an empire. Then the coal ran out. In 1974, the island was evacuated. Within months, it was empty. Today, Hashima is a decaying skeleton of concrete. Buildings crumble. Hallways echo. Visitors are allowed only to small, reinforced areas. Most of the island is forbidden due to collapse risk. But those who have explored illegally report something else. Voices carried by the wind. Footsteps above empty corridors. Lights flickering where there is no power. Hashima is forbidden not because it is haunted, but because it shows how quickly civilization can vanish. One generation lives, the next leaves, and the island forgets. Forbidden Place Number 14, the Darien Gap, Panama. Between Panama and Colombia lies a stretch of land without roads. dense jungle, swamps, mountains. The Darien Gap. It is one of the most dangerous regions on Earth. Not because of animals, but because of isolation. Those who attempt to cross face disease, flooding, exhaustion, and disorientation. Navigation equipment fails. Paths disappear overnight. Many who enter are never found. Governments strongly discourage travel through the region. There are no rescue systems. No infrastructure. The Darien Gap is forbidden because survival is uncertain. It reminds us that even in the modern world, there are places where nature remains absolute. Forbidden Place Number 15, the Lost City of Petra's Restricted Chambers. Petra is famous. Tourists walk its paths daily. But beneath the surface lie chambers and tunnels few have entered. Some are sealed. Others are intentionally ignored. Archaeologists have found evidence of rituals whose meanings are lost. Burial chambers with no inscriptions. Rooms designed for silence. Local Bedouin warn against entering certain areas. Not because of danger, but because of tradition. These chambers were never meant to be disturbed. Petra reminds us that some places are visible, yet still forbidden. The pattern of vanishing. What connects these places is not mystery alone. It is absence. Angikuni Lake, Roanoke, Hashima, the Darien Gap. In each case, humans arrived with purpose. And then, they were gone. No conclusions. No certainty. Forbidden places are not always violent. They do not always resist. Sometimes they simply remain. Long after the people who touched them disappear. As you listen now, allow the silence between these stories to grow. Notice how the mind reacts to unresolved endings, to unanswered questions. This is why these places disturb us. Not because of what happened, but because we do not know why. And perhaps we never will. In the next and final part, we will explore places that are forbidden by decision. Zones humanity chose to seal away forever. Places where the cost of entry is considered too high. For now, remain still. Let the quiet take over. Part 4, Sealed away forever. Some places are not forbidden by fear. They are forbidden by choice. These are locations where humanity looked at what existed and decided it should never be approached again. Not now. Not later. Not ever. In these places, the danger is understood, measured, documented. And still, the decision was made to walk away. This final part explores places sealed not by mystery, but by certainty. Forbidden Place Number 16, the Chernobyl Reactor Core, Ukraine. Chernobyl is often spoken of casually now. Tourists walk its streets. Photographs are taken. Documentaries are filmed. But beneath Reactor 4 lies a place no human may ever enter again. the reactor core itself. After the 1986 explosion, molten nuclear fuel melted through concrete and steel, forming radioactive masses known as corium. Some of these formations remain lethal for tens of thousands of years. Radiation levels inside certain chambers would kill a human within minutes. Robots sent to investigate have failed. Cameras degrade. Metal becomes brittle. The core is sealed under the new safe confinement structure. Not to protect the reactor, but to protect everything else. Chernobyl's core is forbidden because it will outlive us. Forbidden place number 17, the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, China. China's first emperor was buried with an army. Thousands of terracotta soldiers stand guard over his tomb. Yet the emperor's actual burial chamber remains unopened. Ancient texts describe rivers of mercury flowing through the tomb. Mechanical traps. Ceilings designed to collapse. Modern scans confirm dangerously high mercury levels in the soil. Archaeologists have made a deliberate choice. Do not enter. Technology is not yet capable of preserving what lies inside. Opening the tomb could destroy it forever. The chamber remains sealed. Its secrets intact for over 2,000 years. Sometimes, respect means leaving things untouched. Forbidden place number 18, the Lascaux Caves, France. Inside these caves are paintings over 17,000 years old. Animals painted by hands long turned to dust. When the caves were opened to the public, something unexpected happened. The breath of visitors altered the air. Moisture changed. Microorganisms grew. The paintings began to fade. In response, the caves were closed. No visitors. No tours. Replicas were built nearby. The original caves are now forbidden. Not because they are dangerous, but because humans are. Forbidden place number 19, Area 51's Inner Facilities, United States. Area 51 is famous for speculation. Aliens. Spacecraft. Conspiracies. The truth is quieter. Area 51 exists to test technology far beyond public awareness. Experimental aircraft. Stealth systems. Materials still classified. The inner facilities are forbidden by law. Unauthorized entry results in immediate response. Not because of extraterrestrials, but because secrecy itself is the barrier. Some knowledge is considered destabilizing if released too early. And so, the doors remain closed. Forbidden place number 20, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, Norway. Hidden deep inside a mountain in the Arctic lies a vault. Inside are seeds. Millions of them. Each represents a crop essential to human survival. The vault is designed to withstand nuclear war, climate collapse, and global disaster. Most people will never enter. Not because entry is dangerous, but because it is unnecessary. The seed vault is forbidden in a different way. It is a reminder that humanity plans for its own failure. A quiet insurance policy against extinction. Why these places must remain closed. Across all 4 parts of this series, we've seen different kinds of forbidden places. Some erase those who enter. Some exist beyond survival. Some are sealed to protect history. Others are closed to protect the future. The common thread is not danger. It is limit. These places mark the edge of what humans can safely touch. And beyond that edge lies consequence. Forbidden places are not challenges to overcome. They are warnings. The final thought. As this series ends, consider this. Human progress has always depended on curiosity. But wisdom lies in knowing when curiosity must stop. The most dangerous places on earth are not those we fear, but those we underestimate. And sometimes, the most responsible action is to turn away. To leave the door closed. To let silence remain. If this story is guiding you toward sleep, allow your thoughts to slow. The places remain, but you do not need to visit them. Rest now.